Hey guys, Jeff Moyer here, checking in from Charleston, South Carolina. I am joined this week by my wife, Haley. We got married back on Friday, and we wanted to do something interesting for you guys this week. I wanted her to interview me on the recruiting process. She's a big baseball fan, but I just wanted her to ask me anything and everything that she could think of as far as the recruiting process goes for college baseball players. So I'm going to turn it over to my wife, Haley, who's going to interview me, and we hope you guys enjoy.
First question, what is the difference as far as the recruiting process if you are a freshman or a sophomore as opposed to being a junior or a senior in the recruiting process?
That's a good question right there. Well, a few things to think about here. As a freshman and a sophomore, you're still young. If you're not one of those top 20% players, you probably don't really need to be focusing on the Power 5 schools, which are doing a lot of recruiting during this time. So as freshmen and sophomores, what I think you should do is focus on the development and working on the fundamentals of your game. Maybe attend a showcase or two. I think playing showcase baseball, staying in shape over the summer is a great idea, just so you can start to get on the radar of those coaches. But unless you're a top 20% player, I wouldn't think about committing or talk about committing. I would really think about working on your game, so when you get to being a junior and a senior, those schools that are ready to offer can go ahead and do so. As far as a junior and a senior, a little bit later in the recruiting process, I would recommend talking to a few of the coaches that you trust the most, a travel coach, your high school coach, anything like that. Get their opinion of where you think you're a best fit. If that's a Division I level, Division II, Division III, NAI, or JUCO, I would trust their opinion, and then I would start to get yourself in front of those schools. Look for a prospect camp, a tournament that they're hosting, but the best way to go about that as a junior and a senior is probably to narrow it down to the schools that you're looking to, and then get on those campuses in front of those coaches at their respective showcases. That way they can see you on their own campus. You're getting a campus tour. I think that's great too. So that's a good first question. What do you got next?
What is your opinion on paying for a recruiting service?
Oh, that's a good mom question right there. So I think recruiting services provide a lot of value. I really do. But my devil's advocate question to that is, can you do that work yourself? So a lot of times NCSA and all these recruiting companies, they're emailing coaches and they're sending your profile and they're sending videos. But in all reality, you need to spend $2,500, $3,000, $4,000 to do that when you can teach your son the research skills to go look for coaches, look for their email addresses, and go do that work your own. I think there's a lot of value in the skills that you can teach your son. Hopefully our son or daughter one day is in this process, and we can talk about that too. But I think there is a lot of value in those recruiting services. But at the same time, I just would like to ask the parents out there the question, like, can't you do it yourself? All those recruiting services are really doing is they're using the relationships that they have or the contacts that they have, but you can do that too. Coaches are always going to take the time to read an email, look at a video. I know I look at all the video that gets sent to me from prospective student athletes, and I think if you're out there on the grind and looking for those schools, I think when that school comes knocking, it's almost a little bit more rewarding to know that you're the one that went out there and found it. You didn't have to pay to go find it. So while I think it's good for those recruiting services out there to help, I would give it, 2 or 3 years of you trying to go through the process yourself and see if you can't get the exposure that you're looking for. What's next?
What is the best way to contact either a head coach or an assistant coach at a school that you are interested in?
Well, I think the best way to do that would probably be via email. I know on every head coach's or every college's website there is an email address and maybe an office phone. Feel free to call the office phone. Sometimes those coaches answer, sometimes they don't, but coaches are always going to look at their email. I know that's something that I check every morning when I get to my desk is, hey, what kids are emailing me today? Who do I need to follow up with? Who do I need to go see this week? So always look for the coach's email. I think that's the best and easiest way to get out there. And, coaches spend a lot of time every morning, every day, every week reading their emails and looking forward to who's emailed them and who's interested in their program.
Let's talk money. If or when your kid gets offered a scholarship, is that scholarship guaranteed for the full 2 years or 4 years, depending on what type of school they're going to?
That's a good question right there, too. So 9 times out of 10, your money's guaranteed for a full year. A lot of times coaches will, they'll put contingencies upon GPA performance into there. I know at Reinhardt University, where I just took the recruiting job, if any player gets an F in there, excuse us as this goes by, if any player gets an F, we deduct money from their scholarship. Any multiple Fs, more money comes off of. And then it also is based on performance. I know a lot of schools are not going to take money away, but at the same time, schools will take money away if they've got a lot invested and you didn't play a lot your first year, or you didn't do as well as possible. So your money's guaranteed for at least a year. And then after that, it's based on GPA, all that kind of stuff, your behavior in the classroom, your attendance. So coaches, that's different from program to program, whether they take it away from you or not. But the programs that I've been, it only gets taken away in dire situations. One more question.
One
Anything
more?
you want.
When you were going through the recruiting process as a college player, what was the best advice? What's the best advice you could give an athlete going through the recruitment process?
That's a good question. I'm actually glad she asked that. I didn't know she was going to ask that. So the best advice that I could give you is to pave your own path. A lot of parents and players, they can get caught up in, oh, well, he's committed, he's not committed, I think I'm better than him, I've got the same numbers or better numbers than him, and I'm not committed yet. And that can add a lot of stress to not only your son on the playing field, but you and your wife or your son, stress-wise. It just brings a lot of unneeded stress. Just know that every player's path to getting to college baseball is different. Mine was different. I was a 4-2-4 player. I went to a Division II out of high school, then junior college, and then I met up with a lot of the players I was playing with in high school at the University of Florida. So I think a lot of parents and players get caught up in, I've got to do it one way, but there's not really one right or wrong way to do it. And so just embrace that and know that your path is going to be different, and there's a lot of grind and there's a lot of success and fulfillment that you get going through it your own way. So I think that's one of the biggest things that I would get. I'm going to ask her one question on the recruiting process. When and if we have kids and we go through the recruiting process, what are you looking forward to most about that?
I would say making that commit, like our kid making that commit to their school of choice, their dream school, and whatever that may look like. I just want our kid to find what's best for them, not what's maybe best for the team or the head coach or anyone, but what's best for them as an athlete and a student as well.
Or us as a family. We want it to be their student, our child's decision. Well, that's this week's episode of Jay Moyer Coaching and Recruiting. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We are going to get back to our honeymoon, and we will see you guys here in a few weeks. Bye, guys.